1. I quit my job at a Michelin-starred restaurant last March. They put me on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication because it was so horrifically toxic. 2 weeks after my last day, I took a job at a local brewery and restaurant. Mainly because I could actually be a real person there and because it's walking distance from my apartment. One of the things I was excited about was the manager. All the restaurants I've worked at were well established in our county, and he was really excited about my application. He kept telling me he hasn't been able to get the space to run as a well-oiled machine yet, and he's looking forward to hearing my opinions. This is such a drastic difference from my last job, where I was getting told off and treated like shit for asking questions while trying to solve potential customer service issues I could see forming. I start. Training is easy. Serving there is easy. Everything is great. I'm noticing a lot of areas of improvement. For example, less than half the staff wears non-slips. Counters on the server stations never get wiped and are usually sticky with alcohol or soda residue. All the expo staff eats with their hands right at the pass, and I don't know that I've ever seen them at the hand-washing station. In fact, I had to ask my trainer on the first day, like an hour into shadowing her, where the hand-washing station even was, because she hadn't stopped at one yet. It's gross. Also, I have serious doubts that everyone has their serve-safe shit. These are good, easy, objective issues to fix, so I bring them all up. He says he'll talk to the owner and probably draft up a staff meeting to go over those standards. At this point, I had already successfully argued with him about putting an auto-gratuity policy on the new menus because we get slammed with a ton of parties of 10+ people who regularly stiff us on tips. So I had faith that things were moving along. Nothing happens. Okay, whatever. He's busy. Summer is rolling in, and the way the restaurant is run during busy season is horrific. Horrific. I had a meeting with him 2 weeks ago saying the restaurant desperately needs structure. He doesn't work services, but he and the owner make all these calls from home without understanding how it impacts service. He takes day-of reservations from anywhere from 50 to 100. He put me on that one alone, and it was a mess. No guaranteed payment, it ended up being about 75 people, and the host told everyone he'd cover their first round, and when some of his guests got a drink and then left, he then threw a huge fit about the drinks he didn't order being on his tab, so I basically had to comp about 4 food items and maybe 10 drinks. Every day this week he has taken a day-of reservation for parties around 30 people or more, and asked me to come in early. And this was happening a lot, before this week also. My schedule means nothing anymore because I'll likely be asked to come in anywhere from 1 to 4 hours earlier than scheduled. He's been changing so many random things to the detriment of the service, like posting a new drink menu that cuts the price of 4 of our cocktails down to $5 from $10 without telling anyone. And when I asked him to either take it down or adjust the computer, he just kept saying, No, it's not live until Monday. Like, if the guests can see it, then it's live. And every time someone ordered from it, we'd have to run around looking for the assistant manager to adjust the price. On a busy weekend, it's insane. It's just constant like that. He makes it so hard to work there efficiently because none of us servers ever know what's going on, and he never sees how any of it impacts service. I'm going to quit soon. One of the most egregious things they do is no one in the front of house takes breaks, and no one gets missed break pay. In California, that's a huge no-no. This is probably the only thing I can get them audited for, and I'm thinking of reporting them on my way out. My husband, back of house, says that's a drastic take, but every time I talk to him about stuff that needs to change, he argues with me or gives me a million reasons why he can't do it differently. Every other place I've worked has been very careful not to break labor laws, so I'm very familiar with what is and isn't legal, and he's wrong most of the time. Doubt any of the other servers ever want to take breaks, but we could stagger shifts so no one goes over 6 hours. One time I came in 2 hours early and they kept me as a closer, so I worked 8 hours straight. It happens to all the servers and they all complain about it. Shit like that needs to stop. They're just constantly screwing us over for money. I'm here for everyone's opinion. Should I report them or am I being excessive? 2. Useful info. I work at a cafe in Australia. Metric system is standard. Most cafes have 8-ounce standard size or 12-ounce large, except for places like McDonald's or the Servo gas station. We're a cafe on the beach, and it's into the cold and rainy autumn months, so we have reduced front-of-house staffing numbers to 1 on the coffee machine, 1 on the floor, host, busser, expo, server all together. Occasional sunny days are a nightmare, as we can still get pretty busy. We can seat 126 guests over 36 tables. Today we were at 50 guests over 15 tables. Of course, people don't arrive at a steady rate, so I have 4 tables if 2 arrive as I'm entering the food order for a 14 top. I ask them to observe the "Please wait to be seated" sign, but of course, they come and queue up at the iPad I'm entering the order on instead. My attention's split by having them in my personal space. I also don't want to be rude to them by ignoring them when they're right in front of me. I decide to ask each group in turn to take any clean table and wait for 2 minutes for me to bring menus and water. Then I'll take a drinks order. The first 3 accept this and head to tables. The fourth say, "Yeah, but we just want a coffee." At a table, I ask, "Yeah, we'll sit over there," they respond. "Okay, then head over there and I'll come and grab your order in a minute. When I'm done with this order," I say. "But we just want to order a coffee," they remind me. That's fine, but I can't stop what I'm doing right now and take your order when I'm halfway through putting this one in. "If you go to your table, I'll be with you in just a minute," I explain. By the time I had picked up menus and water, they had left in a huff. I made it to the first of the other 3 tables to set them up and grab an order. This went fine. The second asked me what sizes our coffees come in. I told them there's a regular and a large. They asked how big they are. During this time, another 2 groups had arrived at the door. They come in an 8-ounce regular and a 12-ounce large. "What does that mean?" they inquired. Fair enough, as many Australians never work in imperial volumes. It's roughly 240 ml for the regular and 360 for the large. "But what does that mean?" they inquire further. "You see that glass on the table over there? That's a regular. The mug next to it is a large." I now have another group waiting at the door, the bell going off at the pass in the kitchen, and coffees sat on the pass waiting to be run. "Okay, but can you get a latte and a large too?" they ask. "Yes, we have large latte glasses too, as well as both large and small mugs for flat whites and cappuccinos." "Okay, so you can only get some drinks in one size, but you can get others in either size," they wonder. "No, you can get whatever drink in whatever size you want, except for the tea and the chai latte, which come in one size as a pot." "Just order coffee, Dad," the daughter decides to help me out. "So what's in a turmeric latte?" he asks. "Turmeric and milk." "So there's no coffee in it?" he wonders. "No, just the turmeric." "Then why is it called a latte then?" he presses. "Because latte refers to the milk." "So what's that like?" "Turmeric, eh?" I explain, probably looking like I want to kill myself at this point. "Oh, I think I'll just have a large cappuccino then," he decides. WTF, how can you be so blind to your surroundings that you think it's okay to waste that much time inquiring about useless details from someone who's obviously under a lot of pressure already? I could have guessed he'd have ordered a large cap from the moment he lined up, thanks to the almost universally correct stereotypes we learn in this work. 3. So I had a table a long time ago with a nice couple who were at the restaurant during our dying down hours. Everything was pretty quiet at this point. We were close to closing, and I was bartending, so I had started my cleaning duties for that. Well, this couple had been extremely pleasant. I offered different items to upsell and check, and they were very happy I was giving suggestions. I made them several drink refills. They were very polite and just enjoying their night, but were pretty quiet. I didn't mind, though. I was busy cleaning up and closing down the bar. After I gave them their meals, I say, "All right, you guys, if everything looks okay, I'll leave you to it. If you need anything at all, I'm just cleaning behind the bar here, so you can wave at me or call me over if you need something." but I'll still be keeping an eye on you guys and checking up a few times. I usually only offer this towards the end of the night since I'm kind of distracted with scrubbing things down, doing dishes, and other bar-related things. But this couple was content with just quietly eating their meals. They didn't need any more drinks or anything, so I just cleaned. When I noticed they had finished their meals, I went over and offered a dessert for them to try, upselling, of course, and they happily said sure, so I went and grabbed it for them. I also grabbed 2 new spoons since I had cleared the table completely. Well, I had my nails done at this time, and I'm not quite sure how it happened, but when I sat down the plate with the dessert, I went to hand the woman her spoon. Somehow, the spoon slipped from my fingers as I was handing it to her, and it flung and pelted her right kind of hard in her chest. I immediately went from professional service voice to panicked, unexpected voice of rushed together, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I swear I wasn't trying to throw that at you." This sweet woman just started laughing and laughing and laughing until she was crying uncontrollably at her table. And when she finally caught her breath, she said, "That was the funniest thing to have ever happened to me at a restaurant." She started laughing and crying again, so I started to chuckle once I knew she wasn't upset, and her partner was just smiling while he ate his cake, and he said, "If you knew the day she had today, you'd know how much it means that you got her to laugh this hard." I just chuckled again and said, "Well, I'm glad I could make you laugh. Did you hear that panic in my voice? I was so worried that it would have accidentally upset you," which caused her to laugh and cry even harder and say between laughs, "That was making me laugh so hard. You sounded so funny compared to your service voice." After I laughed and apologized again for assaulting her with a spoon by accident, I decided to just leave them be at this point to enjoy the rest of their meal. And as I was cleaning up some more behind the bar, the woman was still laughing and eating her dessert. She laughed all the way until her and her partner walked out the door. The guy left me $50 with a note, thanking me for making his wife's day better, and to not throw spoons at any more customers. 4. So where I work is mostly breakfast items, but we do have dinner, if they don't want pancakes or waffles. We are not a steakhouse or anything fancy. If someone orders a T-bone dinner or any of the other dinner items, they have 2 sides and it comes with a piece of garlic bread. So, an older lady and I assume her daughter came in. Place was dead at that time. I was just replenishing our stuff and some cleaning. My manager was cleaning the front door, so she sat them down in a table booth and told them that I'll help them. I introduced myself and asked if they would like anything to drink, and let them look over the menu and our happy hour menu. I came back a few minutes later and asked if they're ready again, and they said no. After 10 minutes, they were finally ready to order. They both ordered T-bone dinner. One was well done, and the older lady ordered a medium. This was my bad for not clarifying medium rare or medium well. The daughter wanted loaded mashed potatoes with broccoli. The older lady wanted a house salad with ranch and loaded mashed potatoes. One ordered raspberry iced tea and the other just unsweetened iced tea. I put in the order. Now for us, we don't take out the salad before the meal. We take it out at the same time as the meal since it was a side. They have different choices besides the salad. I know some places usually take the salad out before the meal, and if someone requests it, we will give it to them. I know it's weird. Well, after a few minutes while their food is being made, I went by their table and refilled both their drinks. The older lady never asked me for her salad. When their food was up, that's when the older lady asked, "Where is her salad?" I told her that I'm bringing it out to her right now. She got annoyed, and I mean she threw a childish tantrum. She told me that the salad should always come out before the main meal, never at the same time. I told her that we are trained to bring out the salad with the meal, especially if it was one of the sides. She didn't want to listen. She just shooed me away, so I left. A couple of minutes later, I came by and refilled again both of their drinks, asking if everything was all right. She said yes, but was still mad about the salad, complaining now she has to eat her salad while her T-bone was getting cold. Again, I apologized for the inconveniences. I left after that. No less than 5 minutes later, I came by to see if they want another refill. The daughter said no. The older lady, while I was asking if she wanted another refill, tossed her steak knife onto her plate angrily, pushed the syrup and sugar caddy on the ground, and started yelling at me, saying she doesn't want any of this crap on her bill. I asked her what was wrong. She immediately told me that it was the salad. Mind you, she was eating while she was still yelling at me. How she wanted it before the meal and how she would now have to eat it instead of her T-bone. Oh, how she has to eat her salad fast because her T-bone is getting cold because I didn't give her the salad before. She kept complaining about the same thing over and over. She says it in different ways, but it still means the same thing. After a cool minute of her complaining about the salad, she grabbed the steak knife and shoved it in the T-bone and complained how it was well done, not medium rare. While this was going on, her daughter was just sitting there eating her food and not saying or doing anything. I apologized about the meat, saying it was my fault on that one, and I can have the cook make a new one for her. She shook her head and said no, and that I ruined it all because I didn't give her the salad first. Also, she didn't want broccoli, she wanted the salad. The cook accidentally gave her some broccoli. I told him she didn't order that. He told me it's fine, she can have it since he cooked it already. To be honest, she was about to get broccoli before she chose the salad. I told her that the cook gave it to her by accident. She nodded her head and said, "I know your cook gave it to me by accident, but I didn't want the damn broccoli. What are you going to charge me for this?" I told her nothing since he made it by accident. It's on the house. She shook her head and threw one of the broccoli on the ground, saying she doesn't like broccoli, even though she was telling her daughter how she likes eating steamed broccoli with melted butter, before she even ordered. I went to my manager and told her about the situation. She asked if I wanted it remade. I told her yes, and I even said that I can replace it with something else. I even told her that she threw the broccoli on the ground, and she dropped the syrup and sugar caddy on the ground. Oh, I forgot to mention, we have carpet, so yeah, syrup on the carpet is not a good thing. She told me to just finish restocking the back and she'll take care of it. I did. I just heard the old lady yelling and screaming about her salad. After a while, I see the daughter pay and leave. The old lady walked out before the daughter paid. It turns out that my manager comped her whole meal, including her drink, just because she wanted her salad before her meal. The daughter just paid for hers and left. My manager took it off the bill after taxes, so I lost about $29. If she did it before tax, I would have just lost about $24. After that, I had to clean up their mess. I grabbed the mop from the back and mopped up the syrup, picked up the sugar caddy and swept up the broccoli and whatever paper she threw on the ground. I asked my manager if I was in the wrong, if I should have taken out the salad first before her T-bone. She told me no, I wasn't, because we are trained to take out all the sides, if they're on separate plates away from the dinner items, at the same time as the main plate, unless they asked beforehand. I told her it was my bad for not clarifying about the medium on the steak. She said that it's fine, it happens, just try to remember to ask if they mean medium rare, medium, or medium well. I had another bad experience a day later on the exact same table number, but I'll write about that one later. 5. So I work at an IHOP, a well-known restaurant that operates 24/7 and is popular for our all-day breakfast. As such, we close very rarely. So I understand why this customer was upset, but that still doesn't excuse their behavior. With that in mind, let's reveal this tale. Our store is changing over to a new computer and point-of-sale system, going from micros to a modern system called Tray. This new system is much faster than our old one and will allow us to operate much more efficiently than before. Needless to say, we are more than ready to receive this upgrade, and we have set aside a day to install this new equipment. Keep in mind, it's not as easy as plugging in a new computer. They have to change out all of our wires throughout the whole building, install 4 new point-of-sale systems, a new server, and a new manager computer. During this time when they're putting all this in, we are completely locked out of our system. So yeah, it's a lot, and we're not going to force our IT guys to stay up all night just to install this for us. We know they need sleep, hence why we set aside this particular afternoon for them. 2 p.m. comes around and we get ready to shut down. We close all remaining tickets, send all non-essential employees home, just leaving my general manager and me, the assistant manager. We clean everything, turn off the house lights, and throw a sign on the door stating that we will be closed until 10 p.m. According to the company policy, we cannot lock the doors for safety reasons, so this sign is the best we can do. 3 p.m. now, and the IT guys show up and begin the process. They make quick work of tearing out all our old wiring. That was the point of no return. Without wiring, our computers are completely useless, and we have to wait until the IT guys finish in order to open. This is where the drama begins. 4 p.m. now, the restaurant is completely torn apart. Cables and wiring everywhere. The GM and I are in the office chatting it up. Suddenly, we see someone walk in the front door on our camera monitor, confused. I ask the GM if we put the sign up, to which he says we did. I go up to the front and oh man, you know how sometimes you can just tell that someone is a Karen? Well, I could tell this was one of them. I go up to the lady. I greet her politely and tell her that the store is closed because of our current situation. I even gestured behind me to the IT guys working with all the detached cables. Are you really closed? Karen asks. I tell her again that yes, we are closed. We will reopen at 10 p.m. tonight. She then says that she doesn't want to dine in, she just wants to place a to-go order. I repeat for the third time that we are closed. Now at this point I was already starting to get annoyed. How can this idiot be this oblivious? The lights are off outside. There's no cars in the parking lot. There's a sign on the door saying we're closed. I've told her 3 times that we are closed. But no, that's unacceptable for little Karen here. She gets all pissy at me and says some nonsense about how our website says we're open, and that we have to take her order. I tell her once again, we are closed. I even took the time to tell her that without our computers to ring her order up, we literally can't do anything. At this point, she asks to speak to a manager. I tell her that I am a manager, but that wasn't good enough. She demands to speak to my manager, to which I grab my GM from the back. He comes up front and talks to the Karen and tells her the same thing. At this point, this Karen was practically fuming and began threatening to report us to corporate, to the news, etc. He told her to leave, and little Karen got all pissy again. However, my GM said something I never thought I'd hear him say. Ma'am, as the manager of this location, I have the right to refuse service to anyone. Now, you have about 30 seconds to leave this store, or I will call the police and have you removed. You should have seen the look on her face. My jaw was practically on the floor. This lady gave the GM one of the nastiest looks I've seen, turned around and walked out. Of course, it never ends that smoothly. As she walked out the front door, she turns around and hurls a rather nasty racist remark about our GM, who is Hawaiian. Our GM simply told her to leave again. Although by this point, his calm demeanor was failing, and he was raising his voice at her. After all was said and done, we returned to the office and calmed down. Fortunately, the rest of the afternoon went smoothly, and we reopened at 10 p.m., as planned. So yeah, that's how yesterday went for me. I hate Karens. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 212. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Now, I'm sorry to keep harping on, but I kind of have to. It's the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. If you'd be so good as to hit the like on the video, or a dislike if I'm annoying you with these requests, it all counts as interaction, so that's all good. And then YouTube will hopefully promote the video and recommend it to other people. And any and all help is appreciated in that matter. Okay, let's see. Saturday, I don't think there's any other business today, so we'll just move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, what odd notions have you found have cropped up as you've gotten older that you would never have considered when you were younger? For example, the house I live in has got a decent-sized yard out the back, and not huge, but good enough to grow things in. And I'm starting to think I would like to clean out the greenhouse, because I've had one there. It was my father's, so it's, when I took over the tenancy of the house, the greenhouse was there. And so I'd like to refurbish that, replace replace the glass, and get it usable again so I can grow things in there. And that would never have interested me when I was younger. When I was very little, though, I did help my dad in the groups, as kids do. Kids like to be helpful. They like to spend time with their parents. And that was something I did. But as I grew older, just gardening on my own was nothing that interested me. And it still doesn't really. But I do really like the idea of growing my own food. And that's just something that occurred to me the other day, is that would never have interested me when I was younger. So what are some of yours? Please do let me know in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.